tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namassami. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to you all. I don't know what I was expecting when I came to join this gathering, but it was not this. It's a big deal. It's this is the the first real, big public gathering for this Clear Mountain project, and just so many people have responded, and it's quite heartening and really inspiring. To see that people are interested and have sort of goodwill towards this project, this idea, and of course, ideas and vision need to be kind of clarified, and just having the sense of, as Ajahn Kovilo and Ajahn Nisabo set the theme for the day of finding our home. I think that's an important theme to recollect and to bring to mind. And I was in my talk at Sims last night. I said that there was, there's always part of the kind of practicing and studying the Buddhist teachings. So what you keep and trying to train, what you keep coming across is all these various paradoxes that that seem to be discordant somehow. So that finding a home for a bunch of homeless mendicants, how's that work? But it's a reality that as beginning from the time of the Buddha, it really wasn't that long after, say, the Buddha and the wanderers started to, there's just this sincere interest within the culture, within the society, to have the presence of a monastic example, and I think it's a really important example and I think even in a modern American culture, to have the sight of a samana, sight of a religious seeker, because it reminds us that, say, the purpose of our life is not just to make more money and die with more things. That's just not what it's all about, and to be able to cultivate really skillful, wholesome qualities that uplift the heart, and to draw together with others who have a similar aspiration, similar vision. So that's what a solid monastic presence can bring, it's a good example for others. it's also a good reminder for us that are, say, in the robes, in the monastic form, because sometimes people think that somehow, people ordain as monastics and they live in monasteries and they just live in sort of harmony together, meditating in bliss all the time. And I can assure you that's not the case. It just ain't how it works. As human condition is the human condition, and we really need all the support we can get, so that having the presence of a monastery, having a place that one can gather and support each other, and to give and share with each other, is really important. But it's also when you're, and particularly at this time, which is really early stages, to be able to clarify your vision of what you want to be doing and what you would like it to be, and refuges and precepts and the kind of the fundamentals of the Buddhist teaching as a basis, because whatever you do, you really want to have the Buddha as your refuge. You really want to have the Buddha as the kind of both the informing and inspiring basis and foundation. So that one of the things that comes to mind is a teaching that the Buddha gave on communal harmony, and of course it's a teaching that applies to whether it's in a family in the world, a group of friends together, spiritual religious community, or a society at large. These are principles that apply. And and the Buddha was such a master at teaching both the way to, say, full liberation through penetrative insight arising from the meditation itself, but also the foundations, how to live a really skillful human existence. So that there's four principles that I'm referring to as the basis of communal harmony. One is generosity. The other is really kind speech, loving speech, acts of service, or skillful conduct, and an evenness of and consistency in the face of all conditions. And these are really important qualities to be reflecting on. I say both for individual training of ourselves, but also for if the group is gonna hang together, these are principles to work from. So that sense of, first one is, say, in the Pali scriptural, dana, so giving, sharing, and that sense of dana is not just a material dana, although obviously, again, we're finding a home, and it's going to require a lot of generosity from people, and people have already shown tremendous generosity, and just the fact that people have shown up today is already sort of a generosity of spirit. So it's wonderful to see that. So that sense of dana, of giving, of sharing, and recognizing that it is a communal endeavor. It is a group endeavor, and to look out for each other. Look out for each other with a generosity of heart, and because it's I remember one time myself going to pay respects to one of the great teachers in Thailand, and he, Ajahn Buddhadasa, and he was quite old at the time. He was over 80, and his health was really starting to slow down and fail. And he's a very prolific teacher, writer of books, and lecturer on Buddhist principles over many, many decades. And he was also very rigorous in his taking themes and exploring them. So the question that I formulated to ask him was that, as he's coming toward the end of his life, what was and knowing that he's been teaching, following themes of the Buddhist teachings for so long, what's the main theme that he's trying to get across in his last days? And he just laughed and said, "Oh, I'm not teaching much these days. I just try to tell people over and over again, don't be selfish." And you think it's so beautiful, because that is a way of distilling the essence of the Buddhist teachings, and just not being selfish. It's a doorway to happiness, and it's a doorway of learning how to live together with each other, and help live together. So that generosity is a foundation of that. It's an expression of that. That's unselfish recognition that when it all comes down to it, it's not about me. the world and that's just isn't how it works. So that the sense of generosity, be willing to help that, and but then of course, how do we communicate together? And in the the scriptural language with the Biya Waja, Waja is speech, Biya is kind of dear or loving, so that to speak in ways that are gentle and kind, and our communication sometimes can be so harsh and judgmental, whether it's towards to others, but even sometimes you hear yourself talking about yourself, or how you're feeling about yourself, and sometimes it can be so harsh. And you think, it's really important to have this sense of loving care, and that speech that is kindly, because then there's a timeliness to that's important, so that living together as human beings, working together with a shared vision of finding a home, building a community, it's going to require many, many people working together, and you're not always going to agree, not even always going to get along, but just be really kind to each other, because there really isn't much to do that's more noble than bringing into the world a spiritual community that many, many people can share. So it's really, it's helpful. It facilitates that communal harmony. The next one is what's called Atacharya. It's acts of service, but also in the sense that in scriptural language, atta is sort of what is of essence. So that things that we're doing, make it essential, make it meaningful, make it be something that's worthwhile, and So that, and of course, that works in our personal lives. It works when we're trying to do something together as working together. So that sense of reflecting, investigating. Well, what's actually beneficial? What's useful? What's wholesome? How do I bring this skillfulness into being in these acts? And it's just trying to make it as conscious as possible. And of course, don't torture yourself with trying to be idealize that all the time, and then because we're not going to live up to it all the time. But it's a baseline to keep returning to, and again with that sense of kindness and compassion. And the last quality that the Buddha points to is what's called in the Pali samanatata, which means a consistency in all things, or impartiality to conditions, an evenness of treatment of conditions around one, an evenness of treatment of the people one is with, and so that there's a steadiness there that is really, really quite beautiful and really important, because if one's able to work within these principles and remind oneself of them, pay attention to them, you'll find that the community that you build is something that you really take a lot of joy in being a part of, and other people will want to draw close, and it's something that will be a legacy into the future. And what kind of form it takes, where it ends up. I mean, there's the kind of proliferations on the table of where we should be and what it's going to look like. That's pretty varied, but yeah, pay attention to those underlying qualities. Make sure it's done in a really harmonious way, so that you enjoy the whole process. So.